I played 100% of Skylanders Spyros Adventure, and this is what happened. We begin the game in Skylands, of course, and are introduced to Eon, this floating head guy who needs us to basically do everything for him. We're thrown into the first level, or chapters as this game classifies them, and honestly it makes sense because some of these cutscenes are insanely long. This nerdy character named Hugo, who also hates sheep for some reason. Like, what did they ever do to you, bro? He's quite relieved though, as we're asked to put our first Skylander onto the Portal of Power. We start our adventure with Spyro, actually Dark Spyro because I'm just cool like that. And this is a good time to explain that I'm going to be playing through this game as a Nuzlocke. Basically, all this means is that I can only use one Skylander from each element, and if they ever die, I can't use them anymore. There are a few important things we need to grab on the first chapter in order to get all 3 stars. This is a chest. Each level there are usually around 3 of them, and they're filled with coins, and are required to 100% the chapter. We also make sure to grab the legendary treasure and story scroll before we're introduced to a little something I like to call pay to win. There are these elemental gates with specific elements on them that only allow you to enter if you have a Skylander of that type on your portal, in this case magic. You can easily beat the game without going into a single one, but we aren't just beating the game, we are of course 100%ing it. So that means every time we see one of these gates, we're going to be getting every last piece of treasure inside. The first one is pretty simple, just requiring us to push a few turtles before we collect Chop Chop's Soul Gem. Soul Gems are another cool addition to the game, allowing your character to get a massive power upgrade from the shop, which trust me, we'll get more into later. It also plays this cool little movie trailer for the Skylander, showing off how cool he is, and well, you know, so you can go beg your mom to buy him for you. We aren't going to be using Chop Chop, and normally that means there would be no point in grabbing his Soul Gem, but of course, in order to 100% the game, we need to get all 32 Soul Gems despite never using most of them. Anyways, enough about Soul Gems, we're also able to pick up this cool Viking hat, and if you thought 32 Soul Gems was bad, don't even get me started on the hats. Flynn takes us over to the second area of the chapter where we're introduced to our first enemy, the Chompy. Chompies are basically the slimes or lowest tier enemy in this game, and are really just meant to teach you how to use your abilities, which you might want to write this down. It's A and B. Literally you either press A or B. 2 different attacks. That's it. After clearing out the Chompies, Blobber shows us 2 more elemental gates where we pick up the Anvil hat with Drobot and a Frying Pan hat with Zap. Just outside the gate, we also grab the second treasure chest of the level. Then we learn that the royal family is apparently trapped by some Chompies, so of course it's our job to save them. So we grab the key and final treasure chest before freeing them and completing the chapter. You may notice we didn't get all 3 stars on our first try. That's because it's literally impossible to do so. Each chapter has this really cool requirement for one of the stars, a time limit. Like, what a cool, creative, and awesome idea. Except no, this sucks for us. If you want to collect all the soul gems, hats, treasures, scrolls, and basically every other requirement, you might as well say goodbye to the time clear goal. This essentially means that we're going to have to play through every single level twice at a minimum. Anyways, enough complaining for now, and let's move on. And of course by move on, I mean immediately go back and replay the level to get the last goal. Okay, that wasn't too bad. Also, whenever you 100% a chapter, Flynn says boom, and it's kind of funny to me, so every time we do 100% a chapter, you'll get to hear him say this. So now that we have all 3 stars on chapter 1, we can actually move on to chapter 2. Each level gives you a bit of a lore cutscene upon completion, and this one introduces us to Chaos and Glumshanks, 2 really well designed villains that honestly, I can't get enough of these guys. Except for the fact that Chaos literally blows up the entire island Eon was on. Yeah, Chaos might have taken it a little bit too far here considering Eon is now just a spirit. Anyways, this explosion shattered something called the Core of Light, and now of course we are tasked with finding the pieces and bringing them back to the island. It also makes sure to let us know that this explosion is what sent the Skylanders to Earth and how you can now find them in your local Toys R Us. Flynn takes us over to chapter 2 and he's very anxious to meet this girl named Callie. Upon starting, Eon introduces us to a new mechanic, basically saying that in certain areas, Skylanders of a specific element have boosted damage, in this case tech. There's also an elemental gate here for the tech element, so we head in and grab a treasure chest, cowboy hat, and finally Stump Smash's Soul Gem. Also, just to keep it real with you guys, I am playing on actual hardware, specifically the Wii version. So the quality might not be perfect, but since I'm going to be 100% in the game, I did want to do this on actual hardware and not an emulator. We then swap to Spyro since magic element is boosted here, and we pick up this chapter's story scroll and then the next treasure chest. Next up is another elemental gate, so we swap into Zap and collect the final treasure chest and the birthday hat. Now we have to hop into this tank looking thing and rescue Callie, completing the chapter. I somehow did miss the legendary treasure and actually end up having to Google how to find it. Apparently there's this bridge that only spawns if you're using a life element Skylander, so we grab the legendary treasure and are able to complete the chapter in under 2 minutes and 50 seconds, allowing us to get all 3 stars. Upon returning, Callie and Hugo ask us to clear out some bramble to reveal a telescope thing, which conveniently points right at the first part of the core of light, the eternal air source. Callie then says our balloon is too weak to fly through the storms to make it there, so we're gonna need a propeller. Does a propeller on a balloon make sense? Not really, but I mean, if it'll help us get the eternal air source, I guess I'll help find it. We talk to Flynn and head out to chapter 3, and let me say, this is by far the most difficult level yet. Firstly, we hop into another tank thing and we are tasked with shooting down 15 of these airships. Not particularly difficult, but if you've ever had to use the Wii sensor bar, then you know this can be pretty frustrating at times. Luckily, we take them out without too much of an issue, and we arrive at an undead elemental gate. We swap into Cinder for the first time and collect a treasure chest, and then what is easily the best hat so far, the propeller hat. If you thought shooting down airships was fun last time, well, strap in because we've got another one, and this isn't the last time you'll be seeing airships either. After taking down some more ships, the air element is strong here, so we swap into another new Skylander, Sonic Boom. We then collect the second treasure chest along with the story scroll before arriving at a new elemental gate, the Earth element. I'm using Terrafin, so I put him on the portal and head inside. We're able to collect a treasure chest along with the Jester hat before heading back outside. A new character is introduced named Persephone, who always introduces herself with "Hello Extremely." And what's nice about this fairy is that she will actually allow us to upgrade our Skylanders after defeating this level. Yet again, we're tasked with shooting down more airships, and this time we're tasked with taking down a bigger or boss airship, if you will. After missing way too many shots, we're able to take it down and collect the golden propeller. If you take a look at these goals, we're actually missing quite a few, and one of the reasons this level is so difficult is because of the enemy goal. Essentially, to complete the enemy goal, you need to defeat every single enemy in the level, and the reason this is so difficult is because there are actually 2 hidden Chompy pods, which you can only access if you accidentally fall off a cliff. I literally found multiple Reddit threads saying this level is impossible to 100% because the enemy goal is glitched. I tried a few times on my own and I was able to collect Sonic Boom's Soul Gem along with the legendary treasure, but I still couldn't get the enemy goal. I decided to do some research on my own, and that's when I came across a YouTuber by the name of JensJ56. He basically explained how to achieve the enemy goal and where the hidden Chompy pods are located. The 2 hidden ones are located in the Earth element gate, and if you want to know their exact locations, I've linked Jen's video in the description below. Thankfully though, we are able to complete the enemy goal, but as you can see, there's still a goal we're missing. So I run through the level one last time and finally get 3 stars on the chapter. I then head back and talk to Persephone, and she explained that she's now able to upgrade our Skylanders. As much as I would like to purchase the Soul Gem upgrade on Sonic Boom, that costs 4,000 coins and we just don't have that kind of money right now, so I decided to go with the flight upgrade. This allows Sonic Boom to fly around using the Z button, which is noticeably faster than walking around, so this is who I plan on using when replaying levels to complete the time goals. Now with the golden propeller, our balloon is strong enough to fly through the intense wind. We fly into chapter 4, where this time we're tasked with actually collecting the eternal air source. We begin the level by collecting a very hidden story scroll, and then we arrive at the life element gate and collect a treasure chest along with the Fez hat. There's these little dials we have to spin in order to rebuild the island, but before doing that we collect another treasure chest and this chapter's legendary treasure. We then finish rebuilding the island and are shown the location of the eternal air source. There are a few enemies along the way, but nothing we can't handle. Next we complete a puzzle and collect Warnado's Soul Gem. Finally, we arrive at the top and take out a couple enemies before collecting the eternal air source. We actually end up missing a hat and treasure chest, so I need to play through the level again. On the second clear, I find the air elemental gate that I missed and grab the fancy hat along with the final treasure chest. With this, we're able to grab the second star, but unfortunately, I'm still missing the time goal. With one final clear, we're able to finish the level in time and grab all 3 stars on chapter 4. With the eternal air source in hand, we are one step closer to rebuilding the core of light, and with this, Eon is now here on the island. Well, his spirit is at least. Chaos learns of what we've done, and after hearing that we're trying to rebuild the Core of Light, he decides that he's going to collect all the other elemental sources before we do. We then upgrade a few of our Skylanders, and Hugo tells us to head down to the docks. Before doing so, I find something called a Winged Sapphire. There are 10 in total, and essentially collecting these will allow us to upgrade our Skylanders for slightly cheaper. With this discount, I upgrade Sonic Boom, and now we can head down to the docks. There's some fishman named Gurglefin trapped down here, and we have to solve this turning lock puzzle to free him. Once freed, he explains that Chaos has sent some trolls to his island to drill oil, and they're driving all the fish out. We eventually take pity on the fishman and decide that we're able to help him out. We board a ship and set sail towards Chapter 5, Oil Spill Island. Immediately behind us, we find a story scroll and then fly over some water with Sonic Boom to collect Whamshell's soul gem. Then I swap into Zap as the water element is boosted here, and after defeating some enemies, I collect the first treasure chest. This level also introduces a new gimmick, which essentially we need to rotate and place crystals in different positions in order to open the doors. I then head down and find the second treasure of the level along with Boomer's soul gem floating in the water. Why is a Tech Skylander soul gem chilling in the water here? Who knows, but as long as we're collecting them, I won't complain. We then find the next area where we're tasked with freeing the fish people who somehow got locked in these cages. Luckily for us, the trolls just left the keys lying around, so this shouldn't be much of an issue. We're able to defeat enemies and free the first fish, second fish, and third. Afterwards, we discover the first fire elemental gate of the game, and inside we find the legendary treasure and the plunger hat. Now that the gate is done, we head back out and free the fourth and fifth fishman. Then Gurglefin tells us to literally throw an explosive bomb into one of their machines in order to, quote, save their home. This honestly feels like that one meme where the adventurers are like, "We did it guys, we saved the city," and all the buildings and cars are basically destroyed. Anyways, before saving their home, we collect the final treasure chest of the level and throw a bomb into the troll's machine. This time we've completed everything except the enemy goal, so we've got to go back again and make sure we take out every enemy. I found out that the one I was missing was somewhere in the fire elemental gate on a platform I didn't see, but after making sure to clear out all the enemies, we complete that goal and then quickly play through once again to grab the third star. As a reward, Gurglefin builds us an oil drill, and coincidentally it's exactly what we need according to Hugo. I make sure to spend some of our hard-earned coin to upgrade Zap, and then we bring a can of oil up to the telescope. Hugo tells us that the next elemental source we need is the eternal water source, but we need something called, quote, the twin spouts of the ocean major minor. I don't know where they get these names from, but I guess as long as it helps us get the eternal water source, I'm cool with it. We then talk to Gurglefin and set sail to Darkwater Cove. Upon arrival, you can literally see Downer-Rank Soul Gem in the cutscene, so as soon as it ends, we make our way onto the ship and grab it. We find ourselves a key to unlock a gate, only to have to unlock another one right after. This is another one of those puzzle gates, but it's a pretty simple solve, so we unlock the gate without any issues. To the left is a magic elemental gate, so we head inside, and this time we have a much more complicated puzzle lock that actually takes me a minute to figure out. But after solving it, we're rewarded with the Tiki Hat. Just outside, we head over to the water to collect this chapter's story scroll, and then it's back to clearing out the enemies. Just up north, we find a small beach and collect the level's first treasure chest along with Igniter's soul gem. We then collect this chapter's legendary treasure before arriving at the ancient temple, where we have to clear out all the enemies to progress. Spyro makes quick work of them, and we've retrieved the twin spouts. But the level isn't over just yet. Gurglefin takes us to a nearby island, and there's these new squid enemies that deal way too much damage. Like, just look at this. Then the fishman tells us we need to unlock the main gate so that we can leave, and of course the button is on top of this faraway tower. We actually have a close call with Zap here where he gets under 100 health, but luckily we're able to get our hands on some food and heal him up. Next we head into a water gate and collect the second treasure chest along with the tropical turban hat. Finally I make my way to the top of the tower and press the button, opening up the main gate allowing us to escape. All we missed this time was a single treasure chest and the time goal. So I quickly replay the chapter and collect the treasure chest and meet the time goal, which thankfully gets us all 3 stars on chapter 6 in just 2 runs. Upon returning, I upgrade Zap once again, and I want to show you guys a quick progress update. If you go to your game file slot, you can see your completion percentage, and after all 6 of those levels, we're only at 27%. Anyways, now it's time to set sail to Leviathan Lagoon and retrieve the eternal water source. Upon arrival, Gurglefin explains that the eternal water source will only appear if we collect the 4 statues. We begin the level by being swallowed by a fish and then find a water gate. Inside, we're able to collect the the first treasure chest as well as the Napoleon hat. With those out of the way, we head back onto the main path and take down this thief to retrieve the first statue. We then arrive in a life boosted area, so we swap into camo and take down another one of those thieves to collect a key, and then head south and find this level story scroll before opening the gate. After pushing a turtle out of the way, we find ourselves the second statue and are able to collect Zap's soul gem. Then we head west and find the level's second treasure chest before accidentally getting eaten a second time. We're forced to hunt down another thief, and we do so pretty quickly, granting us the third statue. Before climbing up this tower, I head behind to reveal the final chest of this chapter. Gurglefin forces us into another tank, and we need to shoot down this pirate ship as they're trying to sail away with the final statue, and we're able to stop them pretty easily. I then make my way off the edge of this island because apparently if you get eaten by the fish exactly over here, you're able to collect this level's legendary treasure. So we do just that. We collect the fourth statue on the pirate ship and then put them into place, revealing the eternal water source. And just when I thought the level was over, we get eaten by yet another fish. Inside, Chaos basically complains about how we're trying to steal his eternal water source and summons these evil versions of Skylanders. Coincidentally, the first one is Zap, who goes down pretty easily. Chaos is pretty upset by this, so he summons a ton of sharks, which is essentially just a dodging minigame, and if you get really close to them, you can actually heal a little bit of health. I remember having a ton of trouble on this level as a kid, and even now it was still pretty challenging. Chaos then spawns an evil Gilgrunt, and he's a little harder, but still gets taken down relatively easily. Next up, he summons another wave of sharks, and this time they're a little more spread out. Chaos is pretty upset that we survived his quote best water spell and summons an evil Slambim. Slambim is a melee Skylander, and with Zap's ranged attacks, he's pretty easy to take out. Shocked at our win, Chaos then summons all three at the same time and even has us fighting them while having to dodge the sharks. Challenging, yes, but with the reduced HP he summoned them with, we're able to make quick work of them. Chaos finally admits defeat and hands over the eternal water source, allowing us to complete the 7th chapter. Luckily, we were able to meet every goal aside from the time one, so... Okay, now the 7th chapter is officially complete. In the next cutscene, Chaos basically says everything's going according to his plan, and then he chokes on this massive chicken wing. With the new water source acquired, Hugo says we should go and investigate the beach, so we head down there and collect our second winged sapphire and third inside this cave. We give this massive robot a bit of oil, and he says he'll create us a pearl if we bring him 5 clams, but instead of making a pearl, he literally ends up making a bomb. I don't know how this guy can create explosives from clams, but at least it's something we can use. We bring a bomb over to this trapped cave and free this mole named Diggs. Diggs explains that there are some Cyclops that are trying to use a crystal orb for evil, which of course is a piece of the core of the light, so we need to go and retrieve it. Diggs takes us over to the Crystal Eye Castle and explains that we need to attack these eyes to open the gates. We collect the level story scroll pretty early on and take down the rest of the enemies. Just west, we break open a wagon and find the legendary treasure hiding inside. We push a few turtles around to solve a puzzle, and then we find Prison Break's soul gem. Just above it is an earth gate, so we swap into Terrafin and head inside. We're able to collect the Trojan helmet along with the level's first treasure chest. Just above is yet another gate, and this time it's undead. Inside, we have to take down a swarm of enemies, and doing so grants us the eye hat. Now it's back to actually progressing in the level, and we need to take down a bunch more enemies to deactivate some beacons. After clearing them out, we smash the first beacon, and doing so literally collapses this tower. We then head south and take out a bunch of chompies to collect the next chest. Next up is the second tower, and we take out all the enemies inside and smash the second beacon, deactivating the gate. Through the gate, we're able to collect the final chest of the level, and now we have to take on the last tower to retrieve the eye. The enemies inside are a lot tougher than anything we've faced so far, but thankfully we make it out alive and collect the eye. Once again, we've completed every goal except the time goal, so... Wait, no, don't do the speed up footage again. Now with all of chapter 8 complete, we show the eye to Diggs and he says that we should bring it back and add it to the machine. Upon doing so, Hugo says the next component we need is the Eternal Earth Source, which the villagers in Stone Town are conveniently keeping safe for us. We head back down to the beach to find Diggs, and he leads us over to Stone Town. First, we grab a bomb to get rid of this wall, and doing so reveals a path leading us to the chapter's legendary treasure. We then swap to Zap and swim over to an island hiding a treasure chest and a portal that leads us to the story scroll. We then grab a key and fight off a few chompies that are trying to stop us. Just outside the gate, we find a nice surprise as Lightning Rod's soul gem was hiding in a tent. I then make my way inside this castle looking area and are tasked with finding 3 keys to open the locks on this gate. They aren't too hidden and we're able to grab them pretty quickly and open it up. Just outside we find another wall that needs to be destroyed, so we grab a bomb and collect Bash's soul gem. After doing so, we push a bunch of stones to climb the mountain and arrive at a life gate. Inside we collect another treasure chest and find the top hat. With that complete, we exit the gate and it's time for a boss battle. This golem is a bit of a pushover and all you really need to do is dodge a couple rocks and take him down. Upon defeat, the golem releases the eternal earth source and we complete the level. This time we actually missed a chest, which surprised me a lot as I thought I had checked pretty much everywhere. It turns out the missing chest was at the beginning of the level, so we quickly go ahead and grab it and then speed through the rest of the level, getting us 3 stars on chapter 9. Some tree guy named Arbo introduces himself and he explains that we need to find the eternal life source and some special seeds. He also creates a massive beanstalk. I have no clue how, but good for you, bro. And of course it leads exactly where we need it to, so we talk to Arbo and head out. We climb the beanstalk and then arrive at Treetop Terrace. There's a not so hidden portal at the beginning of the level which only leads to money, but we're gonna need a lot of it as we haven't really been upgrading our Skylanders all that much. We then find a second hidden portal that eventually leads us to the chapter's legendary treasure. Just after, we find a platform that leads to the level's first treasure chest and have to dodge a series of barrels to climb the section of the tree. After taking out some more enemies, we already find the second treasure chest and the story scroll. It feels like this chapter didn't have a ton of space to work with, so we're able to complete a lot of the objectives pretty quickly. Next, we arrive at a magic gate and have to take out a few enemies guarding it. Inside, we find Gilgrunt's soul gem and the moose hat. We then find this massive ball that ends up taking down most of the enemies in our path for us. Afterwards, we find a little tree island that contains the level's final treasure chest. Now we have to solve another one of those crystal puzzles, and once solved, we're rewarded with the life seeds. This scores us a really fast completion of the level, but of course we didn't hit the time goal, so you know what that means. Nice. Chapter 10 complete. We take the seeds back to the island and apparently they grew into some apple bushes, and let me just say, I now see why Hugo hates the sheep. We have to collect 15 of these apples while fending off the sheep as they try to eat the apples before they're fully grown. I don't know if I'm just using a bad Skylander or maybe I just suck at this, but no joke, it took me 5 whole minutes to collect 15 of these stupid apples. After finally collecting all of them, Arbo tells us that the eternal life source is hidden in a giant acorn? Like, okay buddy. And also apparently the seeds are guiding him to the acorn. It all just seems a little nuts. Please laugh, please laugh, please laugh, please laugh. Anyways, we're well overdue for some upgrades and I won't show each individual one, but just know that we made some upgrades to Camo, Terrafin, Zap, Dark Spyro, and Sonic Boom. With our new and improved Skylanders, it's now time to head out to the Falling Forest. We head up the beanstalk once again and we get another cutscene with Chaos. He explains how much he hates trees because he can't find the acorn containing the eternal life source, and that he's gonna cut down every single one in the forest. We then arrive at the Falling Forest and Arbo begs us to stop the trolls from cutting down any more trees. Just below where we spawn, we find a narrow path leading to the legendary treasure. Maybe it's just me, but I feel like the past few collectibles haven't been all that difficult to find. I'm totally okay with this, by the way, because it means I don't have to replay the level as many times to get all 3 stars. Anyways, we collect these rockets and the objective is to shoot them into the trolls' chainsaw machines in order to stop them. Once doing so, we move on and take a bounce pad to collect Stealth Elf's soul gem. We then make our way through a few more trees and find the first treasure chest of the chapter. There's tons of enemies here, so after taking them all down, we collect the story scroll and take down another chainsaw with some rockets. We find ourselves in Earthgate, and inside we have to solve another one of these lock puzzles. Once doing so, we grab a second treasure chest and the raccoon hat. After making our way through some more trees, we find a bounce pad that leads us to the third and final treasure chest of the level. And finally, we reach the acorn. But of course, Chaos has beaten us here, and we're tasked with defeating his evil minions once again. First up is Zook, and I literally don't even have to move to take him down with a barrage of projectiles. Then Chaos summons his life spell, which again is basically just dodging simulator. Seeing that we survived, Chaos angrily summons another one of his minions, and this time it's Stealth Elf. A little more challenging than Zook, but still goes down pretty easily. Then Chaos summons his quote, totally unbeatable death evil life spell of ultimate death. Then he summons his final minion, Stump Smash, which actually gives us a bit of a challenge. He spits out this big ball which blocks all projectiles, making it difficult to land attacks on him. But alas, we take him down just like we did the other 2. Finally, Chaos summons all 3 minions at once, but Camo quickly takes down Stealth Elf, Stump Smash, and then Zook. With this, Chaos angrily gives up the eternal life source and says that we should watch our back. We complete all goals other than the time goal, so With that, we have fully completed Chapter 11. We return home and we've officially collected 4 of the 8 Eternal Sources. A new character named General Robot shows up and lets us know that there are some trolls protecting some special gear. Hugo responds by saying that this is the golden gear and we need it for a part of the Core of Light, so off to the troll warehouse we go. Also, to get there, we're literally being fired out of a cannon. This cannot be safe. Anyways, once we get there, Snuggles is back as a secret agent. Snuggles is one of the characters we saved from the hurricane all the way back in Chapter 1. He's apparently here to help, and by help, I mean he makes us do everything for him, of course. We begin the level with one of these puzzle locks, and let me tell you, this level is filled to the brim with them. After solving the first one, there's literally another one in the very next room. I just love Skylanders sometimes. After solving the second lock, we find the chapter story scroll and then find the gear's location, but of course it's guarded by a giant minefield. I had to of course try running through the field and skipping the rest of the level, but unfortunately they don't let you do that. And I guess that wouldn't be very 100%y of me anyways. Just up ahead is a life gate with probably one of the most annoying features. There's a bunch of rooms with keys, but it's designed to where you can only get one of the 2 treasures and you'll be 1 key short of getting both. While inside we collect a treasure chest and the legendary treasure, but we'll have to come back for the hat later. Right now we're looking for 4 pieces of a map that will lead us through the minefield, so I head through a few more rooms and pick up the first piece. Then we have to solve another puzzle lock, so I do so and am rewarded with the second piece of the map. We find ourselves in a crystal room, and after pushing a few around, we solve the puzzle and move on to collect piece number 3. Next up is a water room, and we take down all the enemies before collecting Zook's soul gem. It must be my lucky day as we find ourselves in front of yet another puzzle lock. Once solving, we clear out a few more rooms and collect another treasure chest and the final piece of the map. Afterwards, we arrive at a fire gate and take a guess what's inside. Is it A, a treasure chest, B, some coins, C, a soul gem, or D, another puzzle lock? Please don't be D, please don't be D, please don't be D, please don't. It's D. Yep. There's another puzzle lock. We solve what feels like our 50th puzzle lock and are rewarded with the rocket hat. Thankfully, that's the last puzzle of the chapter, and we make our way back to the minefield. With the map in hand, we cross the field and collect the final treasure chest along the way. We then arrive at the golden gear, and apparently it turns into a rocket ship? Whatever gets us the gear, I guess. As you know, we missed one of the hats, so we head back in and collect it. Keep in mind, I had to do all the puzzle locks again. And you know what the best part is? Going off course to get the hat actually made it to where we didn't beat the time goal. So I get to do all the puzzle locks a 3rd time. Okay, seriously, I'm never, ever playing that level again. We finally make it back to base, and Chaos has this quote, green goo, that of course is what we need. Hugo explains that it's essential to restoring the Core of Light, and General Robot knows exactly where we can find some. Honestly, I'll do anything to get away from the puzzle locks, so off to the goo factory it is. Upon arriving, Snuggles is here once again, and before we start, let me just say that this level is somehow even worse than the previous one. We head to the right and quickly pick up the chapter story scroll and explode a wall to collect the level's first treasure chest. After knocking down a few more enemies, we're introduced to a new character named Rizzo. He explains that we need to go find something called a mega bomb in order to take down these big walls. While searching, we find an air element gate, and inside we actually have our first death. Sonic Boom gets taken out by the mines. Friendly reminder, I said I was going to try and Nuzlocke this game, but of course if anyone dies, that means we cannot 100% the game in a Nuzlocke format. Personally, I'm counting this as a death, meaning we failed the Nuzlocke challenge, but there is an argument to be made as not counting it since we didn't technically die to an enemy. We need Sonic Boom to complete the level, so I end up restarting the chapter. This time we make our way back to the air gate and collect the legendary treasure and the General's hat. While exiting, Sonic Boom gets popped once again by these mines, and I still don't really know how these things work. We already cleared out the air gate, so I decided to press on with the level. We then head to the top of the hill and are able to collect Camo's soul gem and the second treasure chest. To the right, we locate the Mega Bomb, and now it's time to push it down the hill and blow up the first wall. We then go right back up and grab a second Mega Bomb and push it down another hill to demolish the second gate. Afterwards, Rizzo tells us that we need to raise the flags in 3 goo factories, but before doing so, we find ourselves a fire gate. Inside, we collect the level's final treasure chest and the spiked hat. We then make our way through the rest of the level, raising the first flag, second flag, and then the third. Rizzo thanks us for doing so, and as you can see, this was not a very good clear. We run through the level once again in an attempt to get the enemy goal, but I apparently missed a few somewhere, but we do get the no lives lost this time. Next attempt, I make sure to check each area twice and finally get the enemy goal. Then I play through the level a 4th time and finally grab the last star. The goo is applied to the core and Hugo is pretty excited about it. He then asks the general if he knows where the eternal tech source is, and thankfully he does. After that rough level, we finally saved up enough coins to purchase Sonic Boom's Soul Gem, so we of course purchase it along with giving Drobot some much needed power upgrades. We then get shot out of a cannon once again and head over to the battlefield. We begin the level by firing a cannon of our own, which reveals the legendary treasure, and then we head south to collect this chapter's story scroll. Next, I collect a key, and before opening the gate, I grab Drill Sergeant's Soul Gem. I then find myself at an undead gate, and inside we have to solve a couple puzzles by pushing around a mega bomb. Once complete, we collect a treasure chest and the combat hat. After exiting, we take out a few enemies and then collect Drobot's Soul Gem. We then roll another mega bomb down a hill and reveal a tank protecting the eternal tech element. Before taking it out, I head to the left and find the next treasure chest, but I'm a bit confused as I remember revealing the legendary treasure at the beginning of the level, but I have yet to see it. I do some backtracking and find the area that I missed, which ended up containing the last treasure chest and of course the legendary treasure. We then go all the way back to the end of the level, take out the tank, and collect the tech source. We're looking much better this time around as we're only missing the time goal, and before replaying the level, I make sure to upgrade Cinder as she's easily our weakest Skylander. And with that, you know what time it is. With 3 stars complete, we head back to base and Chaos swallows some sort of bug, I guess. I don't know. But what I do know is that a previously inaccessible door down by the beach opens up, so we make our way down. Inside the gate is a new character named T-Bone. Right now, he is literally just a skull and asks for our help to collect the rest of his body. We agree and make a few laps around the beach, and before you know it, T-Bone is whole again. Hugo comes down and asks T-Bone for his head. T-Bone says no, but he knows where we can find one just like his. We arrive in the crawling catacombs and begin searching around. Immediately, we're able to find the chapter story scroll and blow up this wall to collect a key. We take down a few more enemies and collect Spyro's Soul Gem and the second key before opening this big gate. We now find ourselves at an undead gate and then solve an easy puzzle to collect the beret hat. We then take down this massive spider, open a treasure chest, collect the key, and open a gate. Through it, we collect the second treasure chest of the chapter and then arrive in a really dark room. It's hard to see in here, so I'll go through it pretty quickly, and all you really need to know is that the final treasure chest was down here, so we grab it. We then arrive in the final room and we're swarmed with an insane amount of enemies. Luckily, the level is generous enough to leave a bomb here, so we're able to tear through them with it. I did end up missing the legendary treasure, so I speed through the level and collect it. Unfortunately, we do miss the time goal because of this, so we run through the level one final time and grab the final star of the chapter. Once returning home, Hugo asks T-Bone if he knows where the eternal undead source is located, which he does, but he tells us that some zombies stole the key to the entrance, so we've got to find that first, and it's off to Cavernous Crypt for us. Okay, actually I lied. Before heading out, we purchased some upgrades for Dark Spyro, Sunburn, and Cinder. Now that we've actually arrived at Cadaverous Crypt, we blast open 2 walls right at the beginning of the level and collect the story scroll along with Hex's Soul Gem. Next, we push some rocks around and take out some more enemies before collecting the chapter's first treasure chest along with Trigger Happy's Soul Gem. Then we find ourselves at a tech gate, and inside we have to collect 10 of these skulls to escape. Along the way, we grab the second treasure chest, and once the skulls have been collected, we also grab the Halo hat. We take out a few more enemies and then arrive at yet another gate. This time it's for the Earth element. Inside is just a bunch of enemies, but once we escape, we are rewarded with the Bone Hat. We have to push a cannon down this long hallway before finding a hidden portal revealing the chapter's legendary treasure. All that's left to do now is mow down the rest of the enemies and grab the skeleton key. Upon completion, I have a pretty terrible realization. This level has an enemy goal, and usually I don't mind the enemy goal, but back at the tech gate, you have about a minute to collect these 10 skulls. No big deal, right? And you'd be correct to say that if all we wanted was the skulls. But the really cool part is that inside, the area is actually filled with a ton of skeletons, so we need to clear all of them out before the timer ticks down. Once we're finally able to take all of them out, we speed through the rest of the level and make sure to collect the final treasure chest that I missed. We then of course need the time goal, so we run through one last time to complete the chapter. Afterwards, we meet up with T-Bone again and he puts his head on the skeleton key. Cool, I guess. But now that we have the key, we can finally track down the eternal undead source, so we set off to the creepy citadel. Once we arrive, T-Bone explains that we need to make our way through the castle and over to the red circle to collect the eternal undead source. Immediately, we collect the story scroll and are tasked with solving a crystal puzzle. We activate the beam and we need to move some more of them to connect it to the bridge. Before continuing, there is some water below, so I swap into Zap and our exploration is rewarded with the chapter's first treasure chest. Just above, we find an air element gate, and inside we dodge some some traps to collect the second treasure chest and the rocker hat. Once outside, we finish the crystal puzzle and lower the bridge. We then go through a whirlpool and are taken inside of the castle. There's tons of enemies here, so we take them all out and arrive at this thorn-looking maze. Once through, we take out a couple of spiders and collect Whirlwind's soul gem. Just east of that, we find the level's final treasure chest and then arrive at a giant stone maze. We solve it, but I can see the legendary treasure in the back, so I find a button to open up the path and then collect it. There's just one hallway between us and the undead source, and Cinder gets popped, so now the Nuzlocke is definitely over. I guess that's what I get for sitting on 5,000 coins. Honestly, I've learned a lot about Skylanders so far and their upgrades, so when I play Giants, hopefully I'll be able to do a little bit better. Anyways, we arrive at the circle, and of course Chaos is here, and surprise surprise, he has some evil versions of Skylanders for us to fight. First up is Ghost Roaster, and he's actually pretty tough, but eventually we're able to take him down. Next up is Dodging Simulator Part 3, and this one is actually noticeably harder than the previous ones. He's also got Chop Chop ready for us, and since he's a melee Skylander, we're able to take him down without any issues. Chaos then summons his evil undead ultimate deadly dead spell or whatever, and after some dodging, he summons his final Skylander, Hex. Once taken out, he summons the three of them together, and we're able to take out Hex, Ghost Roaster, and then Chop Chop. Chaos then gives up the Eternal Undead Source, and we're able to complete the level. We meet all goals aside from the time goal, and yes, we missed the no lives lost goal as well, but I don't really want to talk about it. And when I saw 10 minutes as the time goal, I thought it would be pretty easy, but boy was I wrong. I was going pretty fast through the level on my second run, and I didn't meet the time goal. I did get the no lives lost though, so at least it wasn't for nothing. I run through the level again, this time basically cutting every corners and spamming Drobot's boosters, and we're finally able to get all 3 stars on chapter 17. Once we arrive back at the island, the sky is all red, which is obviously not a good thing, and Dig shows up with a train? He then explains how his mole friends were trying to help us find the Crucible of the Ages, and the caves collapse on them, so we need to go and free them. We grab a bomb and explode the entrance before taking the train inside. Once in, Blobbers tells us there are 7 of his mole friends trapped and gives us a pickaxe to go and help them. After mining through some stone, we're able to free the first mole, second mole, and the third. Then we make our way across some water and collect Cinder's soul gem and a treasure chest. Then we chase down a thief and collect a key before freeing the 4th mole. We put the key in the gate, which reveals a bomb, and with it we're able to take down some walls to collect the next treasure chest and the story scroll. Next, I make my way north and collect the chapter's final treasure chest and solve a cannon puzzle to collect Flameslinger's soul gem. Afterwards, I backtrack to the beginning where I apparently missed a tech gate, and inside I collect the miner hat, and just outside I find the level's legendary treasure. With everything collected, Diggs complains about how he can't walk and needs us to push him in the minecart. He does have the Crucible of Ages with him though, so it's not all that bad. Finally, a good clear where we're only missing the time goal, so... Okay. Upset that we've almost collected every Eternal Source, Chaos decides to send Glumshakes into the mine to try and stop us from getting the Eternal Fire Source. Hugo then says that the train tracks will lead us to the lava lake, so we climb aboard and head out. Upon starting, we grab a pickaxe and flip a lever to fix the train track so that the train can progress. Then we blast a cannon through this wall to reveal Eruptor's soul gem and then fix the tracks once again. This time the train is blocked by a gate, so we take down a bunch of enemies and open it up so we can pass. Glumshanks is destroying the tracks, so it's our job to fix them. Just south, we collect the story scroll and push a bunch of stone blocks around to make a path for the train. Once complete, Diggs repairs the rails, and we continue down and arrive at the lava lakes. We're shown the location of the Eternal Fire Source, and along the way, we clear out a bunch of enemies and arrive at the fire gate. Inside, we collect the next treasure chest and a hat. With everything collected, we head back outside, clear out the remaining enemies, and arrive at the Eternal Fire Source. Chaos is of course here because why wouldn't he be, and he's got more evil minions. First up is Flameslinger, who falls to a barrage of Drobot's lasers. He of course has another special spell for us, and this time we're dodging fireballs falling from the sky. Next up is Sunburn, and she actually hurts quite a lot, but thanks to some well-timed dodges, Drobot is able to take her down. Next up is another ultimate deadly fire spell of doom or whatever, and this time it's actually living up to the name. Drobot gets taken down and we're forced to swap into Cinder. Last is Eruptor, and Cinder makes quick work of him, and then Chaos summons all 3 together. With this, we're able to take down Flameslinger, Sunburn, and finally Eruptor. Chaos admits defeat and grants us the Eternal Fire Source, but I don't really feel like we won. We missed quite a few goals, so we're gonna have to replay the level a few more times. On our second attempt, we grab the second treasure chest, and then the third. We do also get no lives lost, so there's that too. The third attempt, we get the legendary treasure, but still miss out on the time goal. And finally, we play through one last time and grab the third star of the chapter. Once home, Hugo tells us that there's only one more source to collect, the Eternal Magic Source. Flynn shows up and lets us know that there's some statue moving around, so we make our way over. We talk to it, and he reveals himself as the weapons master, and basically says that he's part of some 10,000-year-old civilization that needs us to help him by walking across this massive chain. We arrive at the Quicksilver Vault and are told that the Eternal Magic Source was the first of all the sources, and we need something called the Quicksilver to contain its power. We're greeted with a puzzle lock. I still hate these things, by the way, and once solved, we're able to collect the chapter's first treasure chest. Then I solve another puzzle lock and are rewarded with the second chest, and I also collect Wrecking Ball's soul gem. We need a key for a gate, so we search around and take down some enemies, collect the key, and open up the final treasure chest. We found ourselves at a life gate, and inside there's a bunch of these floating platforms. We deactivate the wall and collect a unicorn hat. Next, we find ourselves at a crystal puzzle, and we need to solve 3 of them to deactivate the seal on the Quicksilver. We solve the first and grab the story scroll, and then the second, and the third. After taking out the remaining enemies, we arrive at the Quicksilver and collect it. We missed the legendary treasure, so we run through a second time to collect it, and then a third time to get the time goal. With chapter 20 complete, we head home and the weapons master tells us that the Eternal Magic Source is located at the Ancient Armory. Hugo tells us that we need to hurry, so we hop on the chain and make our way to the Archaean Armory. Once arrived, we flip a switch that turns on the light and reveals a ton of massive robots below us. Afterwards, we make our way down these paths to collect the story scroll and the first treasure chest of the chapter. Next, we actually board one of the massive robots and have to take out a bunch of enemies. This section is really straightforward, so all I'm going to include is us taking down this other robot at the end. We arrive at a new area and find the Eternal Magic Source, but it's trapped by some sort of shield. The Weapon Master then tells us we need to retrieve the security key, so we grab it along with Voodoo's soul gem. Just east is an air gate, so we head inside with Sonic Boom and collect the second treasure chest and the wizard hat. West of that, there's a legendary treasure guarded by some rocks, so we swap into Terrafin to collect the legendary treasure and the final treasure chest. We head back up and use the key card, but we're told we need to deactivate 3 locks inside the vault to collect the Eternal Magic Source. With this, we're able to deactivate the first lock, second lock, and the third, and are finally able to collect the Eternal Source. As you can see, we've completed every goal except the time goal, so for the final time of this video, nice. Chapter 21 complete. We head back home and the core has been fully restored to its former glory and lights up the skies all around us. So much so that it's even able to reach Chaos in his castle. Chaos complains about how much he hates the light and flies away into the darkness. Thanks to the core, we now know Chaos's location and we've decided to bring the fight to him. Hugo pushes a few buttons on the core and sends us off to the final chapter of the game, Layer of Chaos. We begin by collecting a key and opening a locked gate, and just past it we arrive at a magic gate. Inside we collect the rabbit hat and the chapter's first treasure chest. Up ahead, the level has us make a few choices between chests, soul gems, and the legendary treasure, so what we end up collecting is the second treasure chest and the third. We take out a few more enemies before we arrive at the final platform. The level's goals are actually shown before we arrive at Chaos's castle, and we've missed a few of them, but on our second attempt we quickly collect the story scroll, legendary treasure, and Double Trouble's soul gem. With all objectives complete, we've technically 100% of the game already, but obviously I'm not going to pass up the final fight of the game. Upon arrival, Chaos of course says that we've played right into his hands. He won't fight us himself, so of course he's got more minions, and first up is Stump Smash and Sunburn. But before we can take them out, Chaos takes us up into the air and reveals his most powerful minion, a freaking Hydra. We dodge attacks from the Water Hydra, and he then summons 2 more minions, and after a few attacks, we're able to take down Stump Smash and then Eruptor. Chaos tells his minions how useless they are and literally ends up sacrificing them to power up the next set of minions. This set is definitely more challenging, but with some well-timed shots, Drobot's able to take out Zap, Ghost Roaster, and finally Stealth Elf. Disappointed once again, Chaos also sacrifices these minions to power up his next set. Drobot is just so good for this fight and is able to take down Zook, Chop Chop, and Sunburn. Chaos then brings in one final set of minions, and this time they're all ranged Skylanders. Drobot's then able to make quick work of Gilgrunt, Hex, and Flameslinger. With all of his minions defeated, he sacrifices the final set to heal himself up back to full health. We've got to dodge a barrage of spells from the Hydra, and it takes me a good 2 to 3 minutes, but Chaos finally falls to Camo. With this, we're able to capture Chaos and send him off to Africa? If anyone's seen him there, definitely let me know. With Skylands restored, we did it. 100% completion of Skylanders Spyros Adventure. With the credits rolling, I want to take a minute to share some of my closing thoughts with you guys. This video took an insane amount of time to make, and going forward, I want to make 100% and 100-day style videos. That being said, replaying Skylanders over 10 years later was such an amazing experience, and I will definitely be making a video 100%ing Skylanders Giants. If you enjoyed this video, I'd really appreciate it if you took a second to consider subscribing. Also, any feedback in the comments would be super nice, letting me know how the pacing was, editing was, or anything else you'd personally recommend. I genuinely appreciate each and every person that watched this video, as it's been my dream ever since I was young to create content full time. Anyways, enough of that, let's head back over to Skylands. Once the credits are finished, the entire crew is here to congratulate us, and Persephone tells us that there's still work to be done because we didn't level up and max out every single Skylander, but that's definitely not something I'll be doing here today. With that, I just have one final thing to say. I hate puzzle locks.